Well, hello everyone. So this is Ajarn Eddie here. So I thought I'd start off with a short little introduction. So my name is Eddie Bacon, and you can just call me Eddie or Ajarn Eddie or you idiot. Okay. So I'm a lecturer at Ranksat University International College, and what I've decided doing was I'm going to be sharing with you some of the things that I cover in my course. So the first thing, the first topic for today, it's going to be sushi. Okay, so let's get started here. So sushi. So I'm sure everybody is familiar with sushi. So today, for today's agenda, we're going to be talking about various things. Okay, first of all, as like a little icebreaker, we're going to start off with some famous delicacies around the world, with of course, with sushi being a delicacy from Japan, but then we'll be talking about some other delicacies that are famous in other countries around the world. Okay. Next is the history of sushi. So this actually, for me, I was even surprised about this, about the history of sushi. I just thought that many years ago they had fish, they had rice, and they thought, hey, let's just put these two together to see how they taste. But there's a lot more background to that than many people realize. Next, you have the sushi variations. Okay, so with sushi being very popular around the world, or not only in Japan but around the world, so many people have decided to, or many different cultures have decided to adapt sushi for their culture. Okay, and then from there we're going to be talking about Kaiten Zushi or Kaiten Sushi, depending upon how you want to pronounce it. For me, I in fact I used to live in Japan. I lived there for 8 years as an English teacher. So I would pronounce it Kaiten Zushi because it's a lot easier rolling off the tongue. But I've seen it's spelled both ways: Kaiten Zushi or Kaiten Zushi or Kaiten Sushi. And lastly, we're going to be talking about global sushi. Okay, all right. So, shall we start? Okay, so the first one is famous delicacies. So the first one, it's bird's nest soup. So this is not actually bird in there, but it's actually the nest from the bird. And this is famous in China. So this is very surprising. Okay, I always thought of bird soup. I didn't think you'd want to make soup from where the bird lived. But I did ask one Chinese student, and she says that, yeah, she sometimes eats it. Next one, it's going to be, fried tarantulas. Okay, so this one, I was very shocked, but apparently this is from Cambodia. So they fry tarantulas. Okay, so apparently this is one of their big delicacies that maybe I might not try. Next, fertilized eggs. So I understand eating eggs, and I understand eating birds, but I think it's not right to eat birds before they're hatched. And this is from the Philippines. Also, in my class, one of my Chinese students said that she sometimes ate this in China. But yeah, I think for me, not really my cup of tea. Okay. Next is the puffer fish. Okay, so these big blowfishes. So of course this is in Japan. So my first, I've never had this before, even though I lived in Japan for many years. Never was interested in eating kind of more exotic food when I lived there. Like also in Japan, you can eat, of course, octopus brains. My mother got tricked into eating that many years ago. And then also you can, what else do they have? They had, of course, cow tongue. It's actually, surprisingly, it's very delicious. And also basashi. So basashi, that is raw horse meat. So again, I never tried that. But my first, I guess how I learned about this was, like many people, they learn about American culture through The Simpsons. Okay, so I saw a little clip on this. So pufferfish, it's a very I guess famous delicacy in Japan. Next, it is maggot cheese. Ugh. So for me, I really don't want to eat anything connected to or has any maggots in it. But yeah, so I guess some cultures they like maggot cheese. So this is from an island in Italy. Very surprising. So I guess maybe I'm gonna. I'd love to visit Italy someday, but I might avoid the maggot cheese. Next is I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but surströmming. Okay, so it looks a variation of sardine, so not so unique, but this is in Sweden. So that looks I'd be open to try to eating that. Next we have live octopus. So I know when I lived in Japan, especially during like festival season, people eat octopus, fried octopus. They call it takoyaki, little shaped in little balls like this. But live octopus I've never had, and I think it would feel a little strange. I saw videos of this online, and the octopus, it's still kind of squirming on the plate, and I think it would feel kind of strange if you ate it and you can feel it kind of moving down your throat. But this is in not Japan. Maybe it may be in Japan, but also it's in South Korea. Personally, I've never seen live octopus in Japan before, but it wouldn't surprise me. Next one, number 8. Excrement coffee. Okay, so it was kind of funny. So the term excrement, not everybody understands. Of course, native English speakers, they may understand this word, but if you're learning English as a second language, you may not know this word. So in my class yesterday, I asked a student who kind of had a higher level of English, and I asked, what does first of all I asked, do you know what excrement means? And she goes, yes, Ajarn, I know. And I said, well, what does it mean? And she kind of paused and she goes, well, poop. So apparently in this country they have coffee that's kind of not from, but they mix it together with a certain type of animals, and this is my favorite English word to say, fecal matter. Okay, so what country is that? That is Indonesia. Okay, so I'm not a big coffee drinker, and if I go to Indonesia, I am drinking tea only. Okay, all right. Next one is, here we go. Okay, so now puffin heart. Okay, so maybe it's the heart from this bird, from this very beautiful bird. Me, I feel kind of sad to do this because it looks like a very, I've never seen a bird like this before, but it looks very, very exotic and free. And so, so this country is Iceland. So apparently they eat the heart of this puffin bird. So, yeah. All right, next, number 10. So delicacy number 10, snake wine. So after talking this over with some of my students, this is kind of common in a few different countries. I don't know about wine, but when I was in Japan, they had snake in there, a liquor bottle, and also China. They said it's there as well. Also in Thailand, I spoke with my wife. My wife, she's Thai, and she said, "Oh yes, we have it here as well." So not so uncommon, maybe in Asian countries. But this one, it is Vietnam. Okay, so I'm not a big wine drinker. I don't really like wine, but I love beer. I think beer is the greatest invention of all time. I don't drink it so much anymore because my wife, she kind of tightened that up a little bit. But I do drink, in special occasions. But I would be open to drinking some sort of, trying this where you have the snake in a liquor bottle. So just so long it wasn't a poisonous snake. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to get into is the history of sushi. So again, like what I mentioned before, I thought maybe the history of sushi might have been just, hey, we got these two foods that we eat. We eat rice, we eat fish. Let's put in kind of like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. All right. I'm from America. We love peanut butter. All kids love peanut butter. We love jam or jelly. Let's put them together. or like Reese's Pieces. Okay, chocolate and peanut butter. They were born to go together. So I thought maybe that's how sushi started. You had rice, you had fish. Let's put them together. But no, there's more to it than that. Okay, so food preservation. Okay, so obviously sushi's been around for a long time. Of course, everybody knows that it's very popular in Japan. So in Japan has a very long history. So really, back before there's electricity or ice readily available to you if you lived in a warm climate, and before refrigerators, rice was used as a food preserver. So I guess it only makes sense. You have fish, but if you catch the fish, you slice it open, you cut it, you got to eat it, right? Or else it goes bad. But what they did was apparently the rice was used as a sort of food preserver. So that's the history of it. They put the fish together with the rice to preserve it to you can eat it at a later time. Okay, of course it wouldn't preserve it that long, but it would for a short amount of time to make it still delicious and edible. Next is the Chinese dictionary. Okay, so the first documented proof of sushi was in a 4th century dictionary, in a Chinese dictionary. That's when it was first documented. Okay, so this is not saying that China invented sushi. This is just saying that this is the first documented time where sushi was stated. So it was in a 4th century Chinese dictionary. Next, so introduced to Japan. So it was the first time it was documented to be introduced to Japan was 5 centuries later. So it's going to be in the 9th century. So roughly about 1100 years ago, it was documented to be introduced to Japan. So and again, this is not saying that it was invented in Japan. This is just saying that this is when it was introduced to Japanese culture. And then with the spread of Buddhism in Japan, of course, for those of you that are Buddhist, I'm not, but my wife is, and my wife told me that Buddha, he was basically she was saying to me that all life is sacred and you shouldn't kill life, other living things. So she was telling me that Buddha said you shouldn't eat meat, and if you must eat meat, eat little. So don't indulge yourself. So with the spread of Buddhism, people were turning away. Some people were turning away from meat, and they were embracing fish. Okay, and again, Buddhism. There are many different variations of Buddhism. I know I lived in Japan for 8 years. The Buddhism there is very different to where I live now. I live in Thailand now, and of course, many people know that in Thailand, most people they're devout Buddhists and they follow the teachings of this religion. But each country they may have a different version of Buddhism. Okay, and let's keep going here. So, lastly, basically the history of sushi, it's really unknown. Okay, so it was first documented in a Chinese dictionary in the 4th century. Then it was documented where it was introduced to Japanese culture in the 9th century. But that's just the first documented cases. No one really knows for sure when. We know how because of it was used as a way to preserve food, but we don't really know definitely when. Okay, all right. So now let's talk about some of the sushi variations. So when you let's go to the next screen here. Okay, all right. So we have so in Japan you can find many different, not many, but a few different styles of sushi. So the first one is hand-shaped sushi. Okay, then you have rolled sushi, battleship sushi, pressed sushi, hand-rolled sushi, and scattered sushi. Okay, so let's let's how about let's do a little guessing game here. So the first one, if you look here, okay, so this one looks like this type of sushi. I would eat this usually when I lived in Japan. Every Friday night, I would go to this department store. It closed now, but it was called Ito Yokoro, and I would usually get a like a sushi set there, and I'd always the one sushi set I would always get the one on the far left, the one with all the looks like little fish balls. They call this ikura. I didn't really like it. Just putting in your mouth, having the like the fish balls pop in your mouth. It wasn't my cup of tea, but yeah. So this style where it's kind of wrapped on the outside. Okay, so this is what we call battleship sushi. Okay, so if you want to be kind of if you like kind of squint your eyes and kind of envision like a battleship, this kind of makes sense. Okay, and here's another. I saw this funny picture here. So this is an epic sushi battleship. Okay, so of course, I'm not sure that you could eat I don't know how you'd eat this. You'd have to eat it with a fork or something, or maybe with a knife and some chopsticks. But this is a very inventive way to create battleship sushi. Okay, next one. Okay, this one, it looks like everything's all mixed together in a bowl. So this would be scattered sushi. So yeah, this one I love. Actually, if I could just have a big bowl of sashimi, scattered sushi with some wasabi and some soy sauce, I would be so happy because I pretty much, whenever I eat sushi, I stick with the sashimi or the tuna, and that's it. And I'm so happy. Next one. Okay, so now it looks like we have these. This is your traditional sushi that you'd see in many restaurants or in many grocery stores. So the one on the far right that looks red, that's sashimi. That's my favorite. So whenever we go out to eat, if we go to any sort of Japanese restaurant in Thailand, I just get this, and I'm happy. So I eat like 20 of them, and then after that I take a nice long nap. Okay, this is what we call hand-shaped sushi because obviously you have to shape it with your hands. Okay, you have to shape the rice with your hands, and then of course you cut you cut some of the fish, but then you have to. It's very much shaped by your hands. Next one, it is so what's this? This one looks like a pie, where it looks like there's some pressure being put on. So hence the pressure. So pressed sushi. So you have the fish and the rice, and then they kind of press down to add the pressure. Okay, now this one. Okay, this one it looks like it's shaped in a roll. Therefore, it's rolled sushi. Okay, and then the last one. This one here kind of looks like if you go to KFC and they have a chicken wrap. It's kind of like that where you have the instead of a tortilla, you're gonna have seaweed, and inside you have rice, fish, and vegetables. And so this would be called a hand-rolled sushi. So these are also very delicious. Okay. So next I want to talk about is Kaiten Zushi. Okay, so Kaiten Zushi, this is a very famous style of restaurant. Started in Japan, but of course now it's famous all over the world. So it is, the first one, it is sushi on a conveyor belt. So when you go to these restaurants, you don't unless you want to special order something, you can just sit down at your table. You got your little hot pot, and then right next to you there's like this conveyor belt, and it just comes by, and and you can get sushi or you can get stuff to put on your in your soup. But yeah, so my wife she loves the hot pot or the hot pot. But me, I stick with sushi. So if I notice any delicious sushi, I'll just go. Whomp. Okay, so it's very convenient, and again, you don't really need the waitress. Only when you wanna, like if I want to order another beer, or if you want to special order something. But other than that, we don't really need the waiters or waitresses. Next, it's cheap, so it's very good. So generally, when I was in Japan, They have different prices, but I would stick with the 100 yen plate. Okay, so in Thailand about 30 baht, so not so expensive. But if you go to these, they don't call them Kaiten Zushi in Thailand, but they have this style here. You don't pay per plate. You just pay for like an hour. So you go there. I can't remember how much I pay, but it's not so expensive. Maybe 1,000 baht for me and my wife together. Maybe seven. I think maybe 700 or 800 baht for me and my wife together. So not so bad, and it's pretty much it's all you can eat. Okay, so it's really nice, buffet style. And next, so family oriented. So this type of restaurant, they cater more to families. So they do have you can. I like to get a booth. So me and my wife, and sometimes her son comes or her niece comes. But then they also have like a kind of like a bar where you sit at the bar, and you have your own individual place. But I very much prefer a booth. So located worldwide. So again, not only in Japan, have it in Thailand, have it in China, America. So many different locations. And it's run more like it's not a fast food restaurant. Actually, it is because the food is pretty fast. Only if you want to special order something. But yeah, it's ran like a fast food restaurant, where they get the people or the restaurants, the Kaiten Zushi restaurant. They get the people what they want, make sure they're happy, get them out, and get new people to come in. And many times, at least in Thailand, before COVID. Many times there would be a line, so you'd have to wait. So it's very, very popular here in Thailand. Moving on. So in terms of global sushi, okay, so what we're going to talk about is how sushi is different in other countries or can be different in other countries. So this right here, this is a picture. This is a picture of your typical Japanese sushi. So you have your sushi. Of course, for me, I love sashimi. And then you have looks like your soy sauce, and of course you have your ginger. I like eating ginger. The ginger, which is kind of in the back, right next to the green tea. Yeah, it's good to eat ginger between eating each sushi, or each I guess slice of sushi. But I don't see any wasabi there. But generally, what we do is you put the wasabi into the soy sauce. You kind of mix it up a little bit, and then you dip your sushi into that, and it gives it a little spiciness. So after living in Thailand, for me, I think if food is not spicy, it's kind of boring, and that's why I love wasabi. I always put a significant amount of wasabi into my soy sauce. And so the first one is sushi pizza. So I was very surprised to see this. So it looks like what this country did was they combined two of their favorite types of foods. You had sushi plus pizza. So I would imagine this would be a Western country. Pizza is very, very, very popular around the world, but especially in Western countries. So Canada. So what Canada did was they combined sushi with pizza. Yeah, I mean, this looks pretty good, so I'd like to try that sometime. Next, we have deep fried sushi. Okay, so you see the little wrapper in the back. So in this country, they evidently sold it at Kentucky Fried Chicken or KFC. So what they did was they had the sushi inside and they put breading and then they fried it. So kind of defeats, if it's deep fried, I don't know if you consider it sushi anymore, because sushi is supposed to be raw fish, right? So, but anyways, so in this country, I've never had it, but it's in Thailand. But it wouldn't shock me because Thai people, they eat a lot of chicken. I know when I went to Thailand, or when I went to KFC when I lived in America, it wasn't so busy, maybe a little bit, but if you come to KFC in Thailand, oh my God, line all the time. There's a big line. There are a lot of people there, so which is a lot different than what I'm used to. Okay, next we roll mops. Okay, So this one looks like it's kind of gourmet French style sushi, but this is from Germany. So it looks like they mixed vegetables with sushi and it kind of made it kind of look upscale, kind of French style plate. But next is sushi burrito. Okay, so this one should be pretty for anybody from the West. Should be kind of easy. Which country this is from? America. Okay, so in America, for those of you that don't know, America, we have a lot of Mexican immigrants live in America, and Mexican food is very, very popular in America. And so what they did was they combined sushi with burritos. So very much like the wrap that we talked about before. So this looks very delicious as well. Although I think I would prefer my typical Mexican burrito over a sushi burrito. Sushi shop. Okay, so what this country did was they took sushi and so what they did was they developed to their own kind of store or restaurant into calling the sushi shop. So this is in France. So yeah, so this looks pretty unique. It looks unique. Okay, I give it that. I'm not a big adventurer when eating sushi, but because I pretty much I just love sashimi the most. But yeah, I wouldn't mind trying to eat at the sushi shop sometime. So salmon roast. So this actually looks really, really, really good. So they wrap the salmon around instead of putting it on top, or instead of having like having the seaweed keep the rice together. This one, what they do is they use the salmon to keep the rice together. And this is in Norway. Okay, so this I would love to eat this. So you take that and I dip it into the soy sauce. Very delicious. So chicken and cream. So this one looks. I guess it doesn't look too different, but they also add some cream in there. It looks like maybe sour cream. So this is in Russia. Okay. All right. So the future of sushi. So first, I want to go in and talk about my experiences in dealing with some Japanese people when I lived in Japan, telling me about their history or what they believe to be the history of sushi from their perspective. So I had one guy. I used to work at an English conversation school. It was called Eikaiwa no Jios, or just Jios. Now it went bankrupt. Actually, I'm very proud of myself, where I worked for this company for about 6 years, and I stayed a little bit longer than I should have, and I saw the writing on the wall, and I thought, oh boy, I better get out of here because this company it's going down. And so I quit, and I forfeited my bonus. But I said, okay, no, because I think this company it's going to close up. So I got a new job working at a public junior high school, and I forfeited my. I thought maybe I was making a mistake because I forfeited my bonus, and I also took a salary cut. But then 2 months after I left, I got an email or a text message from a friend of mine saying that Geos just went bankrupt. So I was like, oh wow, I really lucked out on that. But but when I did work at Geos, I was working at this one Geos. It was in Ota, so Ota Geos, and I was working there, and I had this older gentleman. So at Geos, I had students ranging from age 3 all the way on up to 75. And one of the students I had, I think he was in his 70s, maybe 75. And he came in one day, he was so mad, and he looked at me, and he looked kind of angry at me, and I'm like, hey, what? Well, what did I do? And then he get into talking about how sushi, how the fact that it's America's fault that sushi is so expensive in Japan. I'm like, well, I'm sorry about that, but what happened was, he was telling me was that before World War II, sushi was, according to him, sushi was considered an afternoon snack. So not so upscale, not a very big delicacy, but children they come home from school and they have their afternoon sushi. So not that much of a you know, eating sushi would not break the bank. All right, but then after World War II, sushi became more popular around the world, and the demand grew, and so the price of sushi keeps going up. And so even right now, when people go when they buy the fish for the sushi, it can be super expensive. That's why if you go to I would just go to the Kaiten Zushi. It's cheap and it's good. But some people they like to go to the famous sushi restaurants in Tokyo, where they have like this famous master chef and he's preparing the sushi for you right in front of you. Some people like that. That's not my cup of tea. But now sushi, the fish for the sushi, it's very expensive because there's great demand all over the world. And from what I read is like the world that they get their fish from one location in the Mediterranean, and so there's a lot of competition to buy the best fish, and so it can be very expensive. So my question for you guys, okay, and if you can post in the comment section. So what do you think is the future of sushi? Okay, all right. Well, that about does it for today. And I want to thank you for watching this video. Yeah, and so please post your comments in the comment section. And I'm really interested to hearing, what do you think is the future of sushi? All right, so again, that's it for today. And then also you can see me or you can view us on our other social media sites. All right, and thank you, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.